Say something funny. Make me laugh.
Bobby, leave him alone.
Shut up. Uh-oh. He's getting mad.
Jack, let's just get out of here, okay?
Yeah, puss. Run away.
The movie opens with Sarah waking up screaming from a nightmare about monsters. As the youngest member of the Stahl family, she's comforted by her father Tom, who appears kind and gentle. He reassures her that monsters aren't real and helps her calm down. Just then her older brother Jack joins in, playfully suggesting ideas to solve her monster problem.
Well, they look pretty scary, but they really can't do anything, especially when the lights are on.
Soon after, their mother Edie becomes part of this spontaneous early morning family gathering as well, leading us to think, what a wonderful family we have here. Well, at least for a while. Tom Stahl owns a cozy little diner in a small town while his wife is an attorney. He's the picture of quiet humility, speaking so softly you'd think he's trying not to disturb the air.
Thanks. I'm sorry, we're close.
But don't let that calm demeanor fool you. Once upon a time, our mild-mannered Tom wasn't flipping burgers. He was flipping the Philly underworld on its head. Back in the day, he was one of the Mafia's most feared and dangerous players. The thing is, nobody in this sleepy little town knows a thing about it, not even Edie. Tom's left that life far behind, abandoning his crime life and settling into civility. He's buried his past so deep that he's practically forgotten it existed. But as we all know, the past doesn't just stay buried forever. The Stahls seem to live a happy life and get along well. Tom and Edie are hopelessly in love, practically glued together like teenagers at prom. Their 16-year-old son, Jack, is a kid with razor-sharp tongue and the confidence of a damp sock.
What do you got going today, Jack?
We're playing baseball in gym class today, so I can look forward to sucking hard in right field.
And Tom proves to be the fountain of wisdom.
Don't let the hitter get the ball over your head.
Jack even surprises himself during the baseball game. He catches a fly ball and helps his team win at the very last moment. His teammates cheer, but Bobby Singer, the class bully on the other team, gets mad at Jack for ruining his moment. After the game, he walks into the locker room and starts bullying Jack.
Does he think you're hot shit in the stall? Little hero saves the day at the last minute, right?
No, I don't. It's just stupid gym class.
Who you calling stupid?
No, I said gym class was stupid.
No, I said gym class was... Listen to this little...
Bobby says that if Jack thinks he's better, he has to prove it in a fight.
What'd be the point? You've established your alpha male standing. You've established my unworthiness. Doing violence to me just seems pointless, don't you think?
He keeps agreeing with everything Bobby says and lets his words do the real damage.
Let's do this, you punk...
Shouldn't that be little punk-ass chicken?
As a result, Bobby gets nowhere with him and stomps off, totally frustrated. Later that night, Edie surprises Tom by showing up at his work. She's managed to arrange things so the kids are out of the way.
Jack's studying over at Judy Danvers. Martha's taking care of Sarah.
She wants to make up for something they never got to experience. Teenage-style romance. When they return home, she shows up in a cheerleader costume and starts playfully teasing Tom.
Go wild!
You're naughty.
Quiet, my parents are in the next room.
Meanwhile, Jack and his girlfriend Judy are busy hitting the books, as you can see. Out of nowhere, Bobby and his buddy show up. It's clear that Jack has gotten under Bobby's skin and looks like he's counting the days until he can give Jack a serious beating. As Bobby drives off in his truck, he almost crashes into another vehicle. He extends the universal sign of friendship at first, but quickly backs off when he sees the scary looks of the two mysterious figures in the truck. They're Billy Orser and Leland Jones, a pair of cold-blooded criminals on a cross-country killing spree. They rob and murder anyone they run into, leaving no witnesses behind, not even kids. Their plan is to stick to small towns and avoid the big cities where the cops are more likely to catch them. Unfortunately for the residents of this town, it's next on their list. As they drive around, Billy grumbles about how tired he is of going from one boring town to another.
That's easy to fix.
The following night, they show up at Tom's diner right as it's about to close. Tom tells them they're not serving, but Billy and Leland casually start ordering coffee. Tom calmly repeats himself, but that just sets Leland off.
I said,
Coffee!
The whole diner freezes and Tom eventually agrees to pour them some coffee. Meanwhile, he tells his waitress Charlotte that she can go home. But as she's leaving, Billy blocks her path. He forces her into a chair and touches her inappropriately. Tom gently tries to de-escalate by offering them all the cash in the register, but this only makes things worse.
Sir, we don't carry much cash here. You gentlemen are certainly welcome to all of it.
I know that, asshole. Believe me. I do know that.
Leland then orders Billy to assault Charlotte. Before he can do anything, though, Tom notices Leland is distracted. He grabs the hot coffee pot and smashes it into Leland's face. In an instant, Tom flips into mob mode. He leaps over the counter with surprising agility and grabs Leland's gun. Tom manages to kill both Billy and Leland, even though the latter stabs him in the foot during the struggle. Tom's story hits the front pages, and the local news paints him as a hero. His employees share in interviews that if it weren't for Tom, they probably wouldn't be there. His injury turns out to be minor, and he's back on his feet in just a few days. When Tom and Edie walk out of the hospital, they're greeted by a big crowd of locals and friends, all cheering and praising them. But even with all the excitement, Tom doesn't seem too happy about being in the spotlight. He avoids the reporters and gives short answers to their questions. Once the Stahl family gets home, Jack can't hide his excitement and starts calling his dad a hero. But Tom humbly brushes it off, saying it was just a stroke of luck. A little later, Edie glances out the window and spots a car parked across the street. She assumes it's a fan stopping by to admire her famous husband. But Tom doesn't feel the same. He gets suspicious and starts feeling uneasy. The next working day is pretty busy. The Stahl diner is packed with people lining up to grab a meal made by the local hero. Among the usual crowd, 3 mysterious guys in suits stand out. The one leading the group, named Carl Fogarty, orders a coffee while he keeps calling Tom Joey.
It's Joey.
You are.
Even though Tom insists he's not Joey and that Carl must have him confused with someone else, Carl is absolutely sure Tom is actually Joey Cusack from Philadelphia. Their back and forth goes nowhere. The more Tom denies it, the more Carl insists. Overhearing their conversation, Edie feels uneasy about their threatening behavior and firmly tells them to either order something or leave. Carl doesn't make a scene but leaves with a smirk that says he knows something about Tom that no one else does. As soon as they take off, Edie wastes no time and calls up the sheriff, Sam Carney, to inform him about the suspicious-looking trio. It doesn't take long before the sheriff's patrol car catches up to their black ride and pulls them over. Sam makes it clear this town values its peace and warns them against causing any trouble.
Well, you keep up the good work, officer.
However, Carl appears completely unfazed, brushing off the threats without a hint of concern. Sam pays a visit to Tom and Edie after uncovering some unsettling truths in his investigation. He's discovered that Carl and his men are part of an organized crime ring from the East Coast with a long history of accusations for murders and violent crimes. Sam came up empty-handed when it came to digging up anything on Joey Cusack. Instead, he found a lead on Richie Cusack, a notorious mob boss based in Philadelphia. Turns out Carl and his guys are connected to Richie and his gang. Sam can't help but wonder why these dangerous criminals are after a regular family man like Tom. And all Tom says is that they've got the wrong guy.
Must have seen me on TV, and I guess I reminded him of this Johnny guy.
Joey.
Joey, somebody.
When Sam takes off, Edie breaks down in tears, overwhelmed by how serious their situation has gotten. Tom does his best to comfort her, trying to offer a fragile sense of reassurance even though he knows they're nowhere near safe. The next morning, Tom spots the mobster's car parked outside his diner. As soon as he notices it, the car drives off, which sends Tom into a panic. He thinks they're heading to his house. He immediately calls Edie to alert him, telling him to grab the shotgun, then starts hobbling as fast as he can from work all the way home. Tom bursts through the door out of breath and sweating, only to find Edie ready to pull the trigger. He feels relieved when he realizes there's no actual threat to his family. However, the way he looks has everyone in the house very concerned. That same day at school, Jack is hanging out with his girlfriend when Bobby and his buddy suddenly shove him aside. They start bullying Jack, insulting his girlfriend and mocking him by saying his dad was brave, while Jack's just a cowardly clown. This time, Jack doesn't fire back with his usual witty remarks. Even though he's boiling with anger inside, he tries to walk away, but Bobby's buddy blocks his way. When Jack finds himself cornered, he finally snaps. He completely loses it, going off on both of them and hitting so hard it leaves everyone around stunned. It's obvious, Jack's got his dad's fire in him after all. Edie and her daughter head to the mall to do some shoe shopping. Not long after they arrive, the mobster's car pulls up next to them. While Edie is looking through the shoes, she suddenly realizes her daughter is nowhere to be seen. She starts searching and is stunned when she spots Carl Fogarty sitting calmly in a nearby chair. Carl isn't there to harm them, though. He's trying to make Edie see that Tom isn't who he says he is. With a cold confidence, Carl tells Edie to ask Tom about Richie Cusack, claiming he's Tom's brother. He wants her to ask herself,
How come he's so good at killing people?
Carl also brings up a personal memory, mentioning that he'll never mistake Joey for anyone else because he's the one who badly injured his eye with a piece of barbed wire. Despite everything, Edie fiercely defends Tom and warns Carl to stay away from her family, or else he will be arrested. Carl, though, doesn't seem too worried.
Don't forget your shoes.
Back at home, Tom is giving Jack an earful about the fight he got into at school. They're arguing when Jack snaps back with a sarcastic remark.
In this family, we do not solve our problems by hitting people.
No, in this family, we shoot them.
Tom loses his temper and slaps Jack, causing him to storm out of the house. Later, when Edie comes home, she tells Tom about running into Fogarty at the mall. She went to the courthouse and got a restraining order, but Carl's words about Tom are still messing with her head. Right then, Tom notices Carl's car pulling up outside. Tom bursts out of the house, shotgun in hand, with Edie right behind him, telling Fogarty to get off their property. Carl asks Tom to drop the gun and come with them to Philadelphia. When Tom refuses, Carl pulls his ace out of the hole. He has taken Jack hostage. Edie panics and rushes toward her son, but Tom stops her, assuring her he'll handle it. He sends Edie back upstairs and puts the shotgun down to ensure Jack's release. The moment Jack is safely back inside, Tom makes it clear he's not going anywhere with them. As soon as one of Fogarty's goons pulls a gun on him, Tom brutally breaks his arm, slams his nose repeatedly with his palm, and then shoots another goon twice in the chest. The chaos comes to a halt when Carl fires a shot, hitting Tom in the shoulder. Watching through the window, Edie is frozen, realizing for the first time just how skilled and terrifyingly comfortable Tom is with violence. Carl stands over the wounded Tom and asks him if he's got any last words. Tom says that he should have killed Carl back in Philly, which also confirms his true identity as Joey Cusack. Happy to hear his confession, Carl prepares to finish him off. But before he can pull the trigger, a gunshot rings out and he drops dead. The shooter is none other than Jack, who has managed to retrieve his dad's shotgun, though he's clearly shaken by what he's just done. Bloody from head to toe, Joey looks every bit the dangerous man he really is. He takes the shotgun from Jack and pulls him into a tight hug. At the hospital where Tom is recovering, Edie opens up to him about the strange gut feeling that Carl Fogarty might have been telling the truth. What really makes her suspicious is how easily Tom took down those two criminals. With tears streaming down her face, she begs him to just tell her the truth.
You did kill men back in Philly, didn't you?
Joey did. Tom Stahl didn't.
Edie is absolutely floored. Tom goes on to explain that he left his violent life behind years ago and worked hard to reinvent himself. But for Edie, nothing stings more than the feeling of being lied to by the man she thought she knew. It seems she won't be able to trust him anytime soon. A few quiet days go by, and then the sheriff shows up to talk to Tom and Edie. Sam suspects that Tom isn't being honest with him. He points out that those dangerous mobsters are usually undercover and wouldn't travel so far from Philadelphia and expose themselves unless they were absolutely sure they were after the right person. Just when it seems like Tom's about to come clean, Edie steps in.
Sam, you've got too much time on your hands.
He stands by Tom, belittling all of Sam's reasonable doubts and suspicions. Edie, breaking down in tears, eventually makes Sam leave. As soon as the door shuts, Edie's public facade is gone and Tom switches back to his dark side. Edie pulls away from him and slaps his face. But Joey won't let her go. He shoves her down onto the stairs and things get intense between them. So intense that Edie's back is definitely going to feel it if this keeps up. Later that night, Joey's awakened by a phone call. It's his brother Richie on the other end, and his words aren't exactly friendly.
You gonna come see me? Or do I have to come see you?
At the crack of dawn, he hits the road, driving 16 long hours straight to Philadelphia. When he finally gets to the bar, Richie mentioned he orders a specific beer, a coded signal that is instantly recognized by a tough-looking guy nearby. The man drives him to the luxury mansion of Richie Cusack. Joey gets patted down for weapons before finally coming face-to-face with his brother. Richie greets Joey like it's the happiest reunion ever. Afterward, Richie opens up to Joey about the mess he had dragged him into before vanishing. Turns out, Joey had a personal problem with Carl Fogarty. Not only did he leave Carl with a damaged eye, but he also killed several of his men. When Joey fled, their boss at the time was furious, and Richie ended up paying the price for his brother's reckless actions, a grudge he's carried ever since. Now Joey wants to make peace, but that doesn't sound okay to his brother.
Tell me what I gotta do to make things right. You could die, Joey.
That's the signal for the guy behind Tom to make his move. He slips a garrote around Tom's neck and tries to strangle him, but Joey saw it coming. With nothing but his bare hands, he fights back, breaking free and swiftly taking down 3 men. Richie grabs a gun and starts firing, but his aim is garbage. Thinking Joey bolted out the front door, Richie chases after him outside, but Joey's still inside. He closes the door and slaughters the last bodyguard in the house. Now it's just Richie left. Panicking, he takes his keys out, desperate to lock the door and protect himself. But it's too late. Joey is already coming for him.
Jesus, Joey. Jesus, Richie.
After washing away the blood in a nearby lake, Joey makes the long drive home, arriving just as his family is sitting down for dinner. Stahl family still gathers around the table even though Joey has fractured their bond. None of them have much to say. The latest revelation about Tom is something they never expected. It's hard to accept that the father and husband they thought they knew had such a dark side. But now that all the threats are gone, there's a hope that part of him will never resurface again. You can see that flicker of hope in everyone's eyes, especially in Tom's and Edie's. That's all for today's video. Hope you found the recap interesting. Thanks for watching and see you soon.